Thank you. My name is Sune Sunesson. Dear guests, dear speakers, we're now going to start the Symposium on Migration Research, Moving Ahead, Exploring Social Transformations in the Age of Migration. But before I begin my oration, I just want to present Dr. Mine Islar from the Pufendorf Institute. Well, keep standing up. She will be the chairperson of this symposium, so she's the leader of the whole thing. So you know that. Well, the idea of launching a migration research initiative in our university came up long before the current so-called migration crisis. As part of the reactions to a long disappointment with the lack of cooperation between faculties and academic departments, which in turn led to the creation of the Pufendorf Institute for Advanced Studies. For my part, the sad experience of closed disciplinarianism in social science was an influence, and when I came to meet physicists and chemists that complained in the same way, we had a case for an interdisciplinary institute. But an interdisciplinary institute as ours, strictly working in a bottom-up fashion, needs a university where thought on difficult questions grow widely in the university. We have been reasonably good in some areas, but not in migration research, which has been confined to very specialized areas of the university. Isn't this strange? If we're anything, we're migrants. My parents moved to Stockholm. Their parents moved from rural poverty to industry and from artisan villages to urban centers. At the same time, we continue to name a period of a few hundred years, a couple of thousand years ago, the time of the Great Migration. Isn't that strange? So, migration is fundamental and it's ubiquitous. However, this is a troublesome insight. On the one hand, mobility is hailed and prized. On the other hand, the poor stranger is and has for a long time been an anomaly, a spectre. Bronislaw Geremek and Abraham de Swan have illustrated this 600-year-old antinomy of the bourgeois mind in their work on the development of poor law systems. Well, that must not cripple us. In 1938, Robert Lund, who 12 years later narrowly escaped Senator McCarthy, wrote a book called Knowledge for What? He says, while empiricism is a good thing, I quote, it is also deceptively conducive to a kind of over-preoccupation with immediacies which may distract attention from critical larger questions. And, end of quote. And investigation could end up, I quote again, as the dirty bag of an idiot, filled with bits of pebbles, straws, feathers, and other random hoardings, end of quote. The study of poverty without questions of for whom and for what echoes here. Like my research on migration as a problem without asking for whom it's a problem. Now we have the unique opportunity to meet a scholar that continues to break these narrow and crippling circles. I'm proud to introduce Stephen Castles, professor from Sydney and Oxford, to you. His great contribution as a writer, as a teacher, and as a leader of research centers is a live example of the opening of the social sciences, to paraphrase a famous book title. His work is also very readable. When I started to appeal for funds to push for migration research, I made a board of engineers, physicists, linguists, and life scientists read a long article by Stephen Castles. They read it, and they support this initiative to this day. So, not only is he right, he can make people understand that he's right. Stephen Castles, the floor is yours. Please, Stephen.